Okie doke. All of that is live. That's working proper. Looks like this is all good. Stream notification is out. All right, all right, all right. Hello, Aki. What you need? So you said focus on defense and then pay attention to para like zoning and space control or something along that lines. And then you said, but feel free to mention stuff otherwise as well. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Just hop on QM for a little bit while we're doing the audio test and such and things and such and such. Okie doke. Oh, it feels so rude to one and done people. I'll see if I can just make them so unhappy they leave after the first game. I don't know if that's any more toxic or not. That's a rollback. Actually, I had that on Lizzie correctly. That's awkward. Oh, must be. Give them the first to third. If they want the first to third. Actually got anti-aired. That's a normal. Well, super shocks actually worked. 2 HP just outright beat Gato. That's crazy.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Okay, they only wanted the first to do. Do I actually have you on my friends list, Stocky? I don't know. I'm gonna just do that then. Wait, that's not... Who? There we go. Alright. I'll do this. I need to figure out if I like this team more, and I'm kind of starting to think I do. Did not realize I was that close to the corner. Mix. Overhead. Gotta kill me. Probably could have just done with one bar. That looks. Get me out. What? Why are you pressing there? I'm so confused. Oh. That actually... Nope. Oh, I missed that. I don't block those. Sad. Not one more skill. How did I drop that? Somehow. Alright, uno mas. And then we'll get started.
One more time.
Come and get some of this!
This battle is all in the mind. Let's rock.
That's... Oops. Just gonna do that. Yeah. I didn't space I thought I timed that right. Bye. That really didn't combo. Okie doke. We'll be getting started. Man, I could not figure out how to deal with that zoning of Squiggly. I am so bad at Squiggly P. Oh, I didn't make any private slots. Why were there no private slots? What? Also need to get this windowed. Oh, okay, so we've got an open lobby for Condilicious. You might have a big open lobby for spades. Or for Condi. We'll see. Alright, we got Condi in here. Let's see if spades responds. If they don't, I can do the basic like El Clasico Get Great teacher, beginner teacher sets, where I kind of just focus on a couple specific things, but we'll see if spades wants in first. I'll give them... When did I ping them? I'll give them to 709, and if they don't respond, I'll do the, whatchamacallit? The, like... I honestly forget what they're called. Oh, that's sacred. So, how's your day going, chat? Also, is there any other beginners who would also be interested in hopping in? I know Straight was asking, but like Ruby said, I don't think that's a good idea. If there is anyone else who's classified as a beginner, preferably like a little bit closer to whatchamacallit? A little bit closer to like true beginner, you can hop in. All right, so I will ready up, and so I'll be spending a game or two on a couple different concepts. I'll be one, just paying attention on what you do in neutral and what your block structure or block strings are looking like. Yeah, that's mostly what I'm going to be focusing on here. See, just mostly paying attention to neutral, seeing what's what. Oh, oops. We gotta get projectiles out. How do we deal with projectile? Oh, you're on H. Okay. How do we deal with getting zoned ourselves? Yeah. I should have punished you for that. Thing to keep in mind about teleport is if you don't have a projectile on the screen while you're going for it, or an assist, it is pretty punishable. Unless they've like really overcommitted. So being in the corner is scary. It's a dangerous habit to get into. Oh. What are we playing neutral for Eliza? Jumping a lot, air dashing. Not bursting. Yeah, okay. It's a good burst. You've actually bursted the projectile hit. Still trying to get a feel for a lot of our buttons. That's one of the things I'm looking for, is when you force me to block, are you keeping yourself safe? Alright, so how are you playing Parasol neutral? Kind of just jumping around. Get some shots out. Be very careful about ending your block strings on heavies, because that will get you counter hit like that. Okay, so main things immediately. You're not choosing a lot of really risky options in neutral, which is already a really good sign. I'm liking to see that. You are a little bit too tentative, and I feel like part of that's just you getting used to the game. You're not used to playing matches. You said it yourself. And that's kind of just something that comes on. But thing to start thinking about is forming basic game plan, and your Peacock definitely seems there more so than the others, where you have a general understanding of how you want to be zoning. And using assists in that zoning as well. Could be refined a little bit. Again, the teleport is a really scary way to fight your way out of the corner. Yeah, so usually in general for Peacock zoning, you almost always want to be leading with the stand heavy punch and then going into your other projectiles, because it's just getting another extra projectile out. Good block. What are we doing on Eliza? A lot of jumping. Oh, I should punish that. But what else are we doing? What are we doing on offense? Yeah. So if you're going to extend into a heavy on Parasol, 100% go into shot afterwards. That will keep yourself plus. It is a bit of an overextension, but that ends up coming to do with push blocks and a couple of other things, so it's not things you should be worried about. So it's a good habit to get in as a start for just keeping yourself safe. That's a good jump heavy kick. But that's just an example as to why the L shot isn't always the perfect response. But it's a decent habit to be into. But in general, if you want to like almost guaranteed keep yourself safe, try to avoid overextending on block string past a medium button. Again, assists and specials all make it a little bit more ambiguous than that for how you want to do pressure, but as a general baseline, when you're trying to keep yourself safe and you're learning the game, a really good habit is to just try and never go past a medium while you're head confirming on block. Yeah, okay. Well, see, what is yours looking? It looks like we are canceling the stand heavy punch a little bit too early. And also just not using it at all. Actually, if we get a hit, what do our routes look like? Kind of pulling away like it's been hit. Okay, can't really come. Save my Parasol. Oh. Run away, get the zoning started. Yeah, just canceling the stand heavy punch just a little bit too early. That's getting used to the zoning pattern. We are using M-Bang a lot as well. It is a reversal, but it is a little bit scary to be using, because it is punishable. Okay. What do we do on hit? Is it this route? Oh, gotta delay that a little bit. You need the sweep to hit them as they're bouncing on the ground if you catch them early, and it unfortunately drops. Well, it looks like we have routes for them. Not fully ironed out, but understandable. Yep. Nice. Okay. Swiggly down. Wait, that actually crossed me up. That's hilarious. I don't have OTG. What do we do on hit? Okay. We can consistently confirm in. It's good. When you get the hits, it's looking real good. Get the low, kill me. Love to see it. Okay, yeah, you've got the Eliza route down pat. Didn't really get to see your P route all that much. The one time I got hit that wasn't M-Bang. We saw that, but I'm going to check your defense a little bit more now to see what you're doing for push block. Because from what I remember seeing, wasn't seeing all that much push block, which is going to hurt in the long run. So, well, we should actually just keep using same side mids. That works. You do have already seem to have a pretty good handle on when you want to be push blocking. Push blocking in like the second or third hit. First hit is really good. It's Not necessarily something we'd expect. But yeah, so push blocking early when you're under pressure is a really good habit to see, and I'm glad to see it already. Oh, I didn't get my L shot. Fast up. Yep. One consistent issue we're seeing so far. That's a little bit cheeky. Not very many people will actually punish that, but just wanted to show you it's not fully safe. Yeah, so one thing I have noticed is we are using Parasol Jump Heavy Punch a lot. It's a good button for controlling space. You don't get to convert off of it on its own. It is, in fact, a blue bounce. Which means your opponent can tech when they hit the ground. It's hard to tech, so you'll definitely catch people sometimes not teching there. But it's not something to rely on because it's not going to be a true combo. If you hit them with a jump light punch or a jump light kick, if you hit them with any button, usually it's going to be jump light punch or jump light kick beforehand, then it gives you the confirm. Okay. I'm going to check your routing just a little bit more, see what your P is doing. Well, didn't quite get the item top in time. Yeah, the P route is awkward. I cannot fault you for struggling with that. But there we go. Connected everything. Oh, that drops. Yep. So the P route needs a little bit more practice. It is what it is. It's all a part of the process. So close to getting chipped out. How do we deal with this? Okay. Yeah, gotta get her zoning chopped up a little bit. I would highly recommend, instead of using 2 medium kick, try and use 2 medium punch as part of your hit confirm, your blocking, because this is incredibly minus. The medium punch is just overall usually the better option. So, would recommend, when you can think about it, trying to use that instead. You can also frame trap out of it, because it's got a sneeze. This is really annoying to deal with. Okay. Good back block. Okay, so yeah, I was liking a lot of the things I was saying. For a beginner player, you were doing a lot of things right, which is also like so lovely because you're also just, you have these habits from playing CPUs. It's not even necessarily from getting coached or from whatchamacallit, having like playing players and getting it through them. Again, the biggest things we're looking at beginners for is routing, which you had the full Eliza route. It looks like you know the Peacock route. It's just a little bit unpolished. It's awkward. It's a really weird route. That's just the character in a nutshell. So you've been practicing it, obviously. It'll just take a little bit more time to get out the kinks. Routing, yeah, it's just like It'll come with time. The more you practice, the more you'll get it. You're a good chunk of the way there. Big thumbs up already. Next thing is paying attention to what you're doing on block. A lot of what you were doing was mostly safe. In the grand scheme of like what we look at beginners for, you were using specials to keep yourself safe on block, which is more or less all we can ask for, or all we'd want to ask for in the beginner side of this, because outside of whatchamacallit, as long as you were making it more awkward than just press jab after my block string is done to get a hit on you, you're keeping yourself a lot safer than a lot of other beginner players, and honestly some intermediate players. So I love to see that that's a habit you already have. You flub it a little bit. Sometimes you don't get your special. It is what it is. Something to just keep track of. And then the other side to that is, I want you to keep in mind the reason we suggest not going past a medium is some of the things you are doing are punishable. So I showed you how Parasol can punish L-Shot on block. I showed you how Bird Insurance, the M Horus, wasn't actually safe if I do something else besides just stand blocking it. Things to keep in mind, but at the end of the day, not the biggest deal in the world. Outside of that, neutral, you're feeling your way around. You're still kind of trying to understand what your game plans are, and that makes sense as someone who mostly plays against bots. And I mean, it's just true for beginners in general. If you want to start thinking about really focusing on understanding neutral, I would recommend picking a playstyle. So like for Peacock, it's almost always going to be zoning. I'm just going, if I want to be zoning, as a general rule, where do I want to be? And so it's like full screen. Okay, once I'm full screen, what am I doing that's effective here? I'm pressing these buttons and using these specials. And so it's kind of just, think about it as a two-part process. What do I want to do? And where do I want to be that allows me to do it? Peacock, that's like mid-screen, full screen zoning. You can be a lot more aggressive with setting up your projectiles. Peacock kind of just gets to be throwing up projectiles when she wants. Obviously, there are times to stop, but overall, I would say you could just get a higher volume of stuff out. The Eliza, you were just doing a lot of neutral jump and up backing. She kind of wants to move forward a little bit more than that. But so for Eliza, it's like, the way I play her, I am going, okay, I want to play a little bit of a mid-range spacing game. So it's like, I want to get myself around stand heavy punch, H-cut, or instant air dash range. And then once I'm there, I'm like, okay, what are my tools that work at this range? It's a stand heavy punch, 2 medium punch, H-cut, air dash in. And then once I'm point and blank after an air dash, it's like, okay, what am I doing here? And so it's really getting used to, how do I get myself in this spot? You get yourself there, okay, I've been in this situation before, I know I like to press this here. And that kind of just helps you build out a neutral plan a little bit more. Talked about neutral, routing. Oh, the final thing was, I did really like your push block habits. Again, push blocking like the second or third hit is a good habit to get into. Some of the times you were already push blocking the first hit, which that's phenomenal. That's a really good habit to get into. Don't over focus on like push blocking the very first hit every time, because then you're doing it predictively and you can get backdash instead if they don't do what you expect them to do. That's starting to lean more into intermediate, but overall really good baseline habits. If you have any questions about routing or like Peacock zoning, I can probably help with that, or find the resources to send to you to look at and be like, okay, so this is what a Peacock full zoning pattern looks like, so on and so forth. But overall, just the little tips I had, and honestly keep playing and you'll be getting there. The reason I was already kind of starting to edge some of the advice into where we'd go into intermediate is you've got a little bit of ironing out to do, but you're starting to like approach the I might be getting close to intermediate player, which I wish you the best of luck on. Like a little bit more time and ironing out some of the kinks, and I think it'll go swimmingly. So it helps if you have. If you have any further questions, please ping me and let me know. If you have any like specific things you want answered, I'm more than willing to go in the nitty gritty, into the nitty gritty of the details, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, this is a tool for you, and if you feel like you need more advice, just let me know and I'll try and whatchamacallit, I'll try and help facilitate that. Yeah. Welcome to Get Great. I hope we can help. It is always a pleasure seeing new faces learning the game. That being said, let's get Tsukinomiya in here. And then I don't know. I don't know if I want them to play against Dovod. Because, like, yes, they asked for zoning, but Dovod, you're really solid. Okay, if you play Robo-Liza, that's... Alright, alright, alright. Let's see how Tsuki deals with zoning. I should also just make sure, was there any other... Nope, just fight a zoner. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Instantly in. Yeah, that's a little awkward to keep both in. Keep them in the corner, I agree. Mix. Okay, you've given them a lot of space out of the corner. Now they can kind of be zoning again. Emu. Okay. That raw tag is really dangerous. It is a tool to use versus zoners, but in that situation there, when they don't throw anything, more often than not, a lot of your raw type can be reacted to. Air dash out! Oh no. Yeah. Yep. So the biggest thing to keep in mind about Robo is she's always going to be wanting to get herself out of the corner. Okay, that assist is bleeding. So it's kind of one of those games where it's like, once you have her in the corner, you can honestly afford to play reasonably patient, and just wait for her to try and like flail her way out. But I wouldn't preemptively give up the space out of the corner. The way I try and do it, and granted this really depends on which character you're playing and how good your backdash is, and among other things, but I kind of like try and hold my ground, and if I notice that she's found a way to bail out above my head, I will try and run under her and keep her in the middle of me in the corner so she can't get the full screen to run away from again. Raw tag. Pillar bites. You can mash too. Mix. Boop, boop, boop. Overhead. Yep. Unfortunate. A little bit awkward routing. How does Ice fight their way out? Yeah, be very careful when dealing with that sort of stuff, because H-Caught is the bane of your existence as Drexel. I will also point out, it's not happening here, but I want you to be aware a lot of your block strings will end up losing Saw, because they're not true block strings, and you don't have any multi-hits. Oh. Damn. Just we whiff, yeah. A little too early. When you're dealing with Robo, sometimes it's worth just taking the scaling and saying, I'm going to use a multi-hit, because if you opt to use 2 medium kick instead of 2 light kick, yes, it gives you a worse combo, but you don't need to worry about Saw anymore. So it's an important thing to think about as Philia. You have some multi-hits, and it's really important in this matchup to be able to call out Saw. Oh, yep, you also didn't have Undizzy left worth a piece, so that wouldn't have been a combo anyway. You might have been able to go into Magnet from there and kill. But yeah. So right off the gate, Tsuki has done 2 up forward round starts in a row. And aggressive round starts make sense in zoning matchups. Just don't get too predictable with it, because the Robo can start hard calling you out.
Priority override. Behavior dictated.
Dash jump button again? Nope. But yeah, so if you're that consistently aggressive, Saw, L Danger, Raw Tag will kind of check some of your approaches. So a little bit of patience sometimes is warranted, and then it makes you being aggressive that much more effective. Mix. Oh, unfortunate. Oh, that's a caught. We don't gotta be afraid of, or we don't have to be that afraid of the skeleton. Yeah, and for you, Peace, I would honestly not recommend doing Beam Super as much as you are. Good old tech trap. Okay, your Bella ate all the saw hits. That looked a little strange.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Okay, swap to Phobia Point. We're getting beamed out a little bit. This will happen. So, one thing to note is even after you've been hit by a beam, Robo is still minus. So, even after you've been hit by the beam, just think of it as I've taken a little bit of damage, and obviously dash blocking is usually the best option, but if you get hit, it's still okay. Now I move forward because they can't beam for a little bit, and so that's kind of like your go ahead to keep on pushing. Killer kill. Incoming could be timed a little bit better because, and how you know that is that Eliza super is not invuln and it has a little bit of startup. So if it actually comes out and you were trying to go for a meaty incoming, you know you didn't because it shouldn't be able to come out if your incoming was meaty. Yep, reasonable choice when they don't have any life left. Another thing to think about is MGR and Diamond Drop are pretty effective against them too. You just have to be sure they're not going to jump.
Would make this and why?
Everybody mind your mark.
Okay, what's our round start? Still aggressive. Okay. Oh, you don't have OTG? That's gonna be really hard to pick up off of. Yep. Decently important thing. I still learned that push block timing. That one looked pretty good, so you can just really figure it out. Also, if you wanted to do something else, you can snipe to get the counter hit, and then take the OP from there. Depends how much you want the damage / how much you want to spend the bar. Yeah, ran into the assist, was a little bit overeager. Oops, sorry about that. Still got the kill though. Up back air dash forward. Or are we playing our family neutral? What an anti-air. No confirm, oh no! Oh, that's a punish. I assume you were just going for the chip out. Makes a lot of sense. Wasn't a true block string, but right idea. Liked what I saw. Okay, yeah. So for Suki, it worked a lot in this set. And I'm not gonna say never do this, but have more than just one general theme of round start. And by that I mean basically like dash jump button is a great aggressive round start option when they're not expecting it. But once they start expecting it, there are ways to deal with it. And this is kind of true for a lot of parasol round starts, but just in general. You can afford to be a little bit more patient, like do a neutral jump or just stand still, do nothing, and kind of react to what they do. If they call an assist, you jab it, put it on cooldown, then run the robo down as best you can with an assist behind you. Like you have more patient options. On hit was looking fine. Like you were doing what you needed to do. Mix, cash out and kill. Yeah, it's I feel like the name of the game or like my biggest thought for how you can approach playing zoners is, especially once you have them boxed in, you don't always need to have your foot on the gas. What you were doing was working. Understand that sometimes, especially if you have been playing really aggressive, stopping, doing nothing, waiting for them to like try and preempt whatever you're doing can just make them swing at air and flounder, and then you just get to walk up and punish afterwards. But that's mostly it. I really liked a lot of what I was seeing. Talked about using multi-hits a little bit for Philia, just a thing to think about in the matchup. You were doing it, so I think you know, and you were just not expecting Saw there, but was worth bringing up. I don't know Philia well enough. It felt like the movement was a little bit slow, but I don't know if that was you just playing patient, like just going, okay, I can spend a little bit more time navigating the neutral a little bit more. But like I didn't see that many box dashes, that sort of thing. And granted, like it's not the most effective thing versus Robo, so it's like it's something I feel like I see other Philias do that I didn't see you do. But what you were doing was still effective in the match you were doing. Yeah, it's actually pretty important to be ready for the random level 1s. Just like in general, it is something a Robo will do. They did it a lot. But it has hit stop, so it's like if you're holding forward when they're doing it, you're getting hit, and it's a lot of damage unscaled. So it's something to keep in mind, but it's just another reason why dash blocking is so important in the matchup. But I mean, sometimes they just have a good read on when you're going to hold forward. It's the same way like Sing SBO works, where it's just like, oh, he got me, I guess. Yeah, I mean, they were doing a lot after Beam, trying to catch you holding forward after it. But yeah, I mean, it just feels weird to get hit by. But at the end of the day, you were blocking it a lot more towards the end of the set. And again, you have ways to punish it. Snipe specifically. It can get you the confirm depending on how close you are keeping yourself with push block, or gets you like a DHC confirm, or you can just run Oki afterwards if you are unable to get the dash up punish. All those things to be thinking about. Was there anything else important for you? Not really. We saw a lot of the same thing. And most of what I saw, again, I liked. Your routing and mix, it was overall exactly what it needed to be. Obviously, a little bit of polish here and there, but nobody is perfect. Nobody never drops. Hell, I drop all the time. Yada yada yada. You know that side of it. You can't have gotten this far without understanding that side of it. But yeah, I would say put your foot on the brake a little bit more sometimes. Just drastically changing the pace of the game is something Parasol is really good at doing, and it can catch people off guard and just like let them all of a sudden think they're playing the entirely different game and then get hit for it. But yeah, and then for Peace, I wasn't paying as much attention to you, but if you're gonna go for those beams, they're not a bad idea. Don't do it as consistently as you were, because you were starting to run yourself out of meter for pretty minimal reward. And then I also, for Peace, it's for Robo, I think you need to focus a lot more on getting to where you can zone comfortably and then zoning rather than trying to always zone. It's like Robo is annoying because her movement is phenomenal. So if you can get yourself in a good spot and then beam from there, there's so little the opponent can do about it. And that's why she's so strong. But you need to work to get yourself in that spot first. And then, oh, man, there was something I wanted to say about the Eliza, but I can't remember. I'm sorry. Again, I was focusing mostly on Suki. So if you have questions, especially with a specific timestamp, please just shoot it over, and I'll gladly try and answer it sometime after the stream, probably tomorrow. But yeah. Para offense, it's a lot of push blocking at the right time, understanding what are her actual block strings, and Robo can actually use Saw pretty effectively against over-aggressive Parasol stuff. Because Parasol doesn't have many multi-hits. None of her stuff is really that fast. The biggest thing you need to worry about is when you have the tier on you, because if the Saw trades, but they did a normal that also detonates the tier, then it will break your armor, and it's kind of like a coin toss of whether it's actually going to work or not. Yeah, maybe you'll get to see a little bit of what I'm talking about for dealing with Parasol tier, because I think I'm just going to end up playing Aki. Because I know they also want more Parasol practice as well. Hopefully that's not my jitter exploding. Internet's been a little bit weird lately. Right as I say that. Close the wrong thing. No worries. Looped by QM. It do be like that. Okay. Change it to full screen. Hopefully avoid any frame drops. Although I haven't been seeing that as much actually, which is... I'd love to see it. But yeah. I run these assists. Need to get more used to them. Okay, so I will do my best to try and focus on your defense. I am unfortunately really bad at paying attention to my opponent's defense while I'm playing, but I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. Parasol control. Yep. forwarding. I had OTG. Oops. Okay, we are running Pillar Butchers. I didn't get bite in time. Okay. Yeah, Clyde there, makes sense. That's little. What the fuck's? You know how to deal with that? I full sent it. I don't know why I did. That didn't hit her. You better kill me. You also should have carved that. Nothing I could do, I think, would beat Car. Thank you. I got pulled out of the corner. Okay. Okay. Let's see how much you're using Pillar Butchers on defense. So I've gotten hit by it. Corner. Oh, I can't DHC. Oops. I should have backdashed because I was hitting the assist. Get her in here. We are pressing a lot on defense. I didn't get my dash, you're dead. Wait, what do you do with the sit? Oh, that's weird. You were conceding a decent amount of ground in the Paramir as well. You're kind of finding yourself backed a little bit closer to the corner. Didn't get my leg kick. We're holding up forward to try and get out of the corner a lot. That didn't count. I really thought that he was going to prevent that. Fair, yeah, deserve. Good patience. Yeah. So I think we need to be a little bit more patient trying to fight our way out of certain situations, on offense and on defense. Mostly on defense, but a lot of the way I run my offense, especially on Eliza, which seems to be catching you a lot, is a lot of what I do kind of punishes people for not blocking. That's cool. But so it's like a lot of same side mids. I'm so sorry. I'm nothing serious. So like there, it's like it looks like you have the time to get out, but then I just choose a really aggressive option, or not even necessarily one that's really aggressive, but one that just checks that space, where it's like, if you're just a little bit more patient there and block it, and then push block me out, then we've really reset neutral.
One more time.
Make sure they didn't ping me on the server. And that seems to be a lot of where you're getting caught. Oh. What do we do with this hit? One thing for you to think about as well, I am kind of autopiloting blocking high afterwards, and so I didn't get my health counter. Quake is a low, so if you notice someone blocking a lot of your for heavy kicks, oh, I did that too early. Do Quake plus assist. You gotta be kidding me. Fair. Tag out. I agree. Just kill you. Oh, my DP! You should have been punished for that. I didn't get my suit. Same. Nice. Last game. Let's see what's going on. Oops, convert. Too far away for that. We're stunning in the bushes. I pressed 2 LP instead of 2 OK. That's deserved. Getting caught down back and you know what? Yeah, we're getting caught by these overheads a lot. I forgot that broke like that. Okay, yeah, so that is flat 5. I'll return to the lobby at least for now, because I want to talk about my thoughts. That actually might have been 6. Oops. Yeah, so it's... The Paramirror didn't feel like you were trying to aggressively take space. You were kind of letting me come into you and then make mistakes on my offense. Like I was just running into butchers a little bit too much. Versus like when I play versus Zolly, he's very often doing like super jump, jump, medium kick, and then like trying to do space jump heavy punches to fight for space that way. You've got Gelato, who kind of just takes space aggressively behind their zoning, especially with their assist. That sort of deal, where it felt like you were kind of just letting me come into you a lot. And there's a lot of different ways to play the Paramirror. So you've got up forward jump heavy kick to avoid tears, you've got 2 medium kick to avoid tears. You can use different shots. What's it called? One thing to keep in mind is you detonating a tier counts as a projectile. So if you use 2 medium punch to detonate a tier when they're shooting a tier at you, it will block their tier and then you tier behind it, and so yours goes all the way through and forces them to block, and then it's a detonation range and they need to get it off of them, otherwise they get like checked by that more often than not. It's at least the way you try and play the Parasol Mirror is, it feels like a mini game of whoever gets a tier on you all of a sudden loses a lot of momentum in the match. That is the way I try to approach it. I mean, tier dead is just, think of it like a full screen frame trap. Like think of the times where Peacock is using item drop to like try and catch you for up forwarding into her zoning, stuff like that. Or when a P is just gonna like check you for beaming, or when a Squiggly is gonna sing SBO you. It's like when you think they're not blocking, go for it, because it's a nice little bit of damage. And if they do block it, I mean, it's still a part of your zoning. Like they can't do anything because they blocked it. They just no longer have a tier on them, so they don't need to worry about that anymore. It's something I kind of just like. I'm not even super hard thinking about it outside of maybe some of the zoning matchups where I'm like, okay, I have a tier on them. I will like deliberately try and pop it now to prevent them from getting set up. That sort of thing. But it's sort of kind of just one of those things where it's like, oh, do I think you're moving? Detonate. It can just mess with people's plan to get out. It kind of like forces them to sit down a little bit. It's just another layer to think about. And then especially if you have a team like you do, where you can do like Snipe Monster and just spread at someone with double and get the confirm. Dead Snipe Monster. GG's. Like, you've got the hit, you're starting your mix. It's a good tool to get used to. Just think of it as like a full screen frame trap-ish. No, frame trap isn't the right word, but I hope I explained at least that concept well. Other than that, I feel like the biggest thing, because you were also just asking about defense, was you were getting caught trying to aggressively get out of the corner a lot. And it just ends up being like that is the game plan I run by default. And the players I lose to are the ones who are really patient and just go, you're gonna hit me with another same side mid. I'm just gonna block and push block you again. Because like after a certain point, no one on my team can threaten you. It's like if you get the Parasol away, it's like, yes, sure, she has zoning, but you would rather be getting zoned and like have a lot less risk to fight your way out of the corner than just having a Parasol in your face, high-lowing you in the corner, that sort of deal. So it's, if you recognize you're getting hit up forwarding as much as you were, so I mean, or when I'm talking, well, at least for this, when I'm talking about like aggressive, I'm talking about like trying to dash to choke space out of the corner, like to get yourself space, or up forwarding out. That's where you were getting hit a lot. Pillar Butchers is definitely something to use. Keep in mind, if I block Pillar, I can still do like H-Caught and hit you and like negate your pressure, or if I'm close enough, I can counter Pillar and like put you in knockdown. And so it's like trade it, so I'm not forced to block it. But it is a good tool to show you're willing to use. You just need to understand that a lot of people are really good at dealing with it, whether it be with double jumps. My characters can't do that all that much, or safe jumping it. So there was a couple times, honestly, I'm shocked the Eliza didn't get hit by that pillar. I think having an assist in front of you made that work the way it did. But you rely on it too much, all of a sudden that's free happy birthday money and you're crying in the club because you've lost 1.5 characters and have to deal with incoming afterwards. But yeah, there's a time and a place where Pillar Butchers is good, and it's usually when they're running face first at you. And a lot of the times I was hitting you in the corner was like spaced options that wouldn't necessarily work against pillar butches anyway. Like my stand heavy punch is not gonna, or Eliza's stand heavy punch is not gonna lose to pillar butchers. If anything, I'll just do Horus on reaction and like jump cancel to keep myself safe. Yeah. Spacing for the Parasol, I didn't focus on it all that much. Again, I think that kind of just more goes to whatchamacallit. That just more goes to, again, you do a lot of what I used to do on Parasol, where it was kind of just, I have a good backdash, I'm going to use my good backdash and stay myself at a comfortable range, but if you don't fight for space, you find yourself in the corner, and that's like, oh, well, shit. Yeah. Don't worry about it. I didn't say nothing. Other than that, I mean, okay, so I'm trying to think about your options for. Okay, one thing. Granted, it was opening me up sometimes, but leaving your hit confirm a little bit more. I would tone down the use of 4 heavy kick on your first block string. Because sometimes you can get the hit on the first thing, and then the 4 heavy kick just doesn't open them. That was the big thing for offense, I think. And then I don't know whether I just had a good beat on you, or if you were being a little bit too aggressive on offense, but I felt like I was able to mash relatively consistently on you. On a lot of my characters. But that could have just been I was getting lucky and getting right. But I think a usual piece of advice for you in general, like I remember this from the Fuqua days as well, is take a second, slow down the pace of the game, see if they just flail wildly, trying to prevent you from running at them. Very similar to what I do, and I do it too much, so there's obviously always going to be a happy medium. But if you think it's like, okay, they've held a lot of stuff, they're probably going to mash now, and you just stand there and watch them fail. That's sometimes a free punish, oftentimes a happy birthday. Slowing down the pace of the game can help. And then I feel like the rest of the things I kind of am thinking about all boil down to it's a relatively new team, and so you're still relearning the systems you want to run for the team. And so there's small tiny things like DHCs and block strings where this probably wasn't the best way to do it, but you were kind of just still working yourself into the system of the team. Yeah, I hope that helps. I know a lot of it was mostly Parasol focused and a little bit vague. So if you want more specific stuff, let me know. I'll try and fix that. I'm gonna go see if CC&D needs any help running their stuff after I try and prevent my stomach from exploding. I swear I'm not dodging you, Aki. I will try and play you in a longer set. Honestly, if you're available tomorrow, ping me tomorrow midday. That should work fine. But right now my body is trying to riot, and so I need to deal with that. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna get the video going, and then throw y'all over to the CC&D tourney. Hope y'all have a wonderful evening, and I will catch y'all Wednesday.
My bad. Yeah, you did. I was wondering what the hell are you doing in here on your own, and then I heard you, speak, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Also, the funny stream could still hear us. Goober.